How many times have you gone and got photographed and you just weren't sure as to why you looked so uncomfortable? Maybe it was the photographer. Maybe you didn't get to have that spice in the moment to be able to bring yourself to you just being you. I interviewed a photographer today. Her name is Eugenia, and she is fantastic. Go ahead and stay tuned and find out more. Perfect. All right. Hi, Elle. How are
Hi.
you? Thank
Great.
you.
Aphrodite, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on my show today on hashtag Relax with Your Realtor. Um, you're a huge photographer here in town. You specialize in boudoir, and I love your movement. I'm infatuated with it. So I wanted to bring you on and kind of ask. You promote self-love, and when you became a boudoir photographer, how did you identify with your mission in promoting self-love?
So it started as a personal journey for me as somebody who struggled with self-love. I grew up in the 90s. I'm 6 foot tall. Even as an athlete, was over 200 pounds. So I'm basically the size of a dude. But growing up in the 90s, that wasn't very popular, and neither was self-celebration or like really loving yourself wasn't something that I grew up with. And so I ended up having a lot of problems in life because of that. A lot of problems because I didn't respect myself. So I would allow people into my life that also didn't respect me, but I felt like I needed their validation. And so
Mm.
there's something really important that what I do is I not only, boudoir in a simple way will show any woman that she's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful and lovely. And I do it in a way that is not over sexualized. It's more romantic and it's more of a personal soul expression, which is going to be different from every woman. Well, for me, I was always great behind a camera, and I've had a camera since I was 13. I learned on film originally, and had to work in a dark bag to get the film out and take it to the dark room and actually process it in chemicals. So I started that way, and I never wanted to be in front of the camera. And that was always so confident behind it, really nervous and uneasy and awkward and weird in front of the camera. So this had been a theme for a while, and it wasn't until 2018, right, that my partner now, my soulmate, he had a really nice camera, and he wanted to do a photo shoot of me, and I was like, well, I'm really nervous. I think we were driving out to Red Rock, and I said, I'm really nervous, and I don't think this is going to be awkward if we don't, drop in and make it have more purpose. So when we got out to the spot we were going to shoot, I lit up some sage and I said just a prayer to really just allow my spirit to come through and just to to relax and have fun with it and to just capture, I just wanted my spirit, really is what I was inviting and invoking my soul to come and play. And after I said this prayer, it was just enough to ease my nerves and to just drop in and have fun. So I said, wow, I wonder if I can do this with other women too. And so that's, one thing led to another. And now when I do boudoir, it is always part of the ritual to say that prayer, to say a meditation, really, to bring and invoke your spirit into the shoot. And I have wild success with it. I mean, every shoot is different. Even though I know how to pose people right? Like we get different styles and stories from each session. So it works.
Wow. You know, I I trust that because I saw I've looked at the photographs of you of your and you just look so in your element. Like you look so fierce. And then as I've looked at your portfolio and all of the people that we know collaboratively that and I've seen your boudoir of them and I'm just like, wow, that's the woman inside of them. And now I know how you create that. So it's like a whole like expression of ritual of how to become you and that's how you bring it out of people. That's amazing because
Yeah,
I
that's one of
see
the
it.
ways.
I see it. I see it in your photographs. I truly do. And they're beautiful. And oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
I love it when other people can see it, but the most important thing is when you can see it. And so that's when, I mean, I get chills now just talking about it. Like that's like my that 0 point energy, or I could say the whole reason why I do what I do. There's exchange there, right? But when she looks at her photos and sees herself and gets tears in her eyes, like, that's me? That's me? I'm like, yes, dear, that's you. And it's not like I'm in a super fancy studio. I shoot out of my home with natural light or very minimal lighting. It's simple. We have a hair and makeup artist that comes and does hair and makeup, right? But this isn't like drag queen style hair and makeup. You know, usually everybody kind of has their own style of what they want, but it is 100% you. And that's what I like to tell her. Yes, this is you. This is 100% you. And this is what I'm trying to tell every woman out there. You know, a sunflower is different than a lily, that is different than an orchid, that is different than a rose, but we're all beautiful flowers and we all have something beautiful, that is the right photographer, getting you relaxed and getting you into that spot where you're just feeling it, you're going to have beautiful photos.
well, you're really good at it, just so you know. And now it's like it's amazing. I how did you discover that did you discover your movement with women and empowering women through your photographs or did you start that at an earlier time in your life?
Well, I think again, it's the women empowerment part has really come out through photography. I did try when I first moved to Vegas, to start a nonprofit. It was really just like, hey, how can I bring some principles, through the divine feminine, which I study a lot of, to other women for empowerment purposes. And so I wanted to start Goddess University, but I'll tell you something right now. It was so much red tape and it was very confusing and it wasn't something that I had had experience with. I didn't have support with it. And of course, with nonprofit, you've got to have those funds. So what ended up alchemizing from it was photography. So in the beginning of January of 2019, I had a miscarriage and I was really devastated and it just kind of tore my world apart. And I was very depressed. Wasn't getting out of the house and doing anything. And it was the camera really that always been a good photographer. It was just kind of there calling me. And it ended up being a tool for my own healing. In a way, it sort of just alchemized through action. So I felt like, hey, this is right. I had this concept of doing a shamanic photography, which I called goddess photography, which is like my next level over boudoir. And it's one where I show you how beautiful you are without all the makeup, right? We just go out into nature and really invoke who you are. And then you'll get these beautiful pictures back and you can see yourself, you know, not as a glamorized person. And each photo shoot is like a ritual or a ceremony. So when I started experiencing that with people, I was really out to prove a concept. And I was proving my concept, but it was over people's head where they were like, yeah, it wasn't something I could market with right out of the gate. So when I scaled it back to boudoir, I found I can basically do the same exact thing, but it's something that the market understands for business purposes, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does 100% because you definitely have to be strategic about your messages. I truly believe that. Um, and I don't think that you could have been able to start such a great foundation, especially through the calling of what you love to do, right? I mean,
Right.
so with all of these different experiences that you've had, what's been the most impactful that you've seen on a woman or anybody that you've ever photographed?
Well, I did one goddess photography shoot last year with a transgender. I didn't know that he was a transgender when we did the photo shoot. I mean, till the day of when he showed up. And so, which is interesting, is because I said, "Wow, He agreed. You know, he agreed to do a goddess shoot. I wanted to do a goddess shoot with a man. Now I do a goddess shoot with a transgender." So what ended up happening through this, it was 13 hours out in the desert, and we went out to Death Valley, we went to sand dunes, and we ran through a series of ritual, really, that was just all about honoring the goddess within. And the beautiful part about that is it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, like we all have a goddess template or goddess divine feminine energy within us. And this is a way that we like honor that. And what ended up happening for him was a lot of healing, a lot of healing. It took us months to process it, I think, for both of us. And I ended up publishing a story about it. And when he wrote his testimonial, he said, I got more out of that one photo shoot than all my years of therapy. Really, because
Oh.
somebody who has been through a transition with their body oftentimes will separate from that energy. They'll separate, like, hey, I'm a man now, right? So I'm going to separate from that energy. But we're never separate from that energy. We'll always, whether you're male or female, and express, even if you're expressing the opposite, how you express doesn't take that away. Doesn't mean that you don't have that energy in you, right? And so it was particularly resonant for him, right? Because he was born female, and so there was a lot there that came up. So that was one of the most impactful ones. I would say since boudoir, it's really just been consistent that I see a consistency of people who come in and just feel absolutely empowered about who they are. They're happy they did it. They come in nervous. They leave feeling so great, amazing, and beautiful. And yeah, that's kind of something regular every day as part of boudoir. You get kind of used to it, I think.
Oh my goodness. That's so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And then you know what? I didn't put these two together, but the divine energy of a female. I was doing some studies about just chromosomes and different things like that about DNA, and everybody has an X. So that right there within itself. And then there's so many different combinations, and a lot of people try to bring in all these different theories on the aspect of why these feelings inside of people are there, and then being able to transcribe that through being able to do something like a photo shoot and be in a raw form and really get centered and take it down a notch is a whole other like level of expression, I think. And that's so beautiful that you were able to find that. And I hope that even just from this video or over the time that you continue to do photography, that you save more and more lives and you save more and more people's self-love, because with everything that's going on, we see the lack of self-love, right? I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that people can seek out, especially people in Las Vegas, and experience that with you, especially if they have things that they're trying to find within themselves or trying to identify back with their love. So, oh my goodness, that's amazing. I can't believe you did that. With your movement, I know you have Facebook groups, a podcast. Please tell me about everything you're doing, how you're doing it, and how's it going?
It's going good. I because of the virus, you know, things have slowed down in the studio, and it's given me some time to rethink. And boudoir is expensive. It is an investment, and what I wanted to do was to have something that would be just as the same kind of initiative feeling, right? So people can come in and feel special and empowered and get them like a mini session almost, and have packages that are going to be less than boudoir. So I just put together what I call angels and blessings, and I had some big angel wings made. And I wanted at first to just have some of my models come back and shoot with the angel wings, so I'd have material for marketing. And I posted it in the group, and I got like 14 people to sign up. So the group's great. I started the group as a way for me to share tools of consciousness and self-celebration and self-love. And so I'll go on and do live videos. I mean, I'll post stuff too, but I think the live videos is where I really try to get into the sauce of what I'm saying. And I just offer that to my group regularly for free. There's nothing attached to it as far as like coaching classes. And it's everything from, you know, cleansing your body to taking time out that we need to like rest and reset. And also because I do a lot of work with feminine energy, it's getting women back into the mode of receiving. Like when you how many women you give them a compliment and they like reject it, or oh no I'm not, or you know, but hey, how about just saying thank you? How about just taking a deep breath and allowing yourself to receive that help? You know, if there's somebody who's willing to help, like we don't always have to be the strong woman in the room who's going to carry all the weight. And when women can switch that, they can switch to receiving more, they just alleviate more stress in their lives. So that's something I bring in a lot to my group. At least I'm trying. I'm getting my sea legs, so to speak, in all this this new digital world. And the podcast was, I'm a part of a group called Freedom Revolution Network, and the name of my show is called Down the Rabbit Hole with Elle. And this is where I become a very disruptive leader in the world. And I encourage that, because really as women, and when we do stand in a goddess template, right, we are going to be disruptive. We are going to bring things that are not going to be the mainstream status quo. And so I'm talking about today, I did, for example, I interviewed a doula who's a bereavement doula who helps support women through the pain of miscarriage and abortions. If she happened to support and help me, she's written a book on it. She also has a group. So I interviewed her. And I interview conscious individuals. I've interviewed people who do like vegan nutrition and cleansing and healing from food. So all those like alternative things that are out there that can sometimes activate people is
Right.
usually on my show. But that's different than my group, because my group, it's not about politics or being disruptive. It's really about inspiring other women. And I have some men in there that I've chosen to that are okay to be in the group, right? It's not really about meeting people, but I also want to be a unity consciousness minded. So like I actually do what's called doudoir, which is men's boudoir. So I have usually about once a month or so, I'll have a man who will come in and do a shoot as well. So that's making it more inclusive, right? That's why I call part of what I do is called Boudoir for All. It's like the new brand I was about to launch before COVID. And then I just kind of backed off because of the expense and kept Danielle Eugenia Photography. But the Boudoir for All mission is really something that's about being inclusive. So that would be in the unicorn group, which I call it, like I call my subjects, right, my unicorns, and that's how I see them. Like when you come in here and you're in my space, I see the sacredness of your soul. I see the colors of your aura. It changes in my camera, right? Like some women will come in and we'll get a lot of gold tones. Some women come in and we get a lot of blue tones or violet tones. Everybody has a rainbow aura around them and has dominant colors. And so when you invoke that in a camera, you can bring that into the shoot. So it's like, it's kind of cool because I have a business, but like, it's kind of magical too. It doesn't feel so businessy worky all the time. It feels more like, hey, I get to I don't know, I get to, yeah, see the rainbow of all these beautiful unicorns. So the group really is near and dear to my heart. I love all the women in there, supporting each other and sharing. It's a place where we allow vulnerability, right? As feminine energy, our powers and our vulnerability, and those who can really hold space for it, it holds space for a lot of beautiful heart moments and transformation and lessons. So that I hold very sacred in that space, that people who are there who are really sharing are protected, so to speak, right? Like we're protecting their vulnerability, and that can come up. Like we get really emotional, and think of how it is now with COVID. Even with all of my tools, here we are in July, and I'm kind of losing it. I think a lot of people are kind of losing it at this point. So I'm bringing in also a lot of tools to help move those emotions, emotional tools to release. We want to feel the emotions. We want to be not stuffing them down. And so that's also something that I'm really passionate about in the group.
Wow. Well, it shines. I love the videos that you post in your group. They're so inspirational. It's exactly what you're there to do. You are inspirational. And, you know, now that I've even learned more about you the way that I have, I admire what you're doing even more. I do.
Thank
You are
you.
amazing. Oh my goodness. And I'm going to make sure that I include all of the links, whatever you want to include, for people to be able to feel welcome to search out
Yeah.
for support, um, especially like the topic of women being able to learn how to receive, and the vulnerability part, I think is crucial. And I hope you get to save and help people. And so any information you want to share so people can come and join you, please let's share it. And
Sure.
I
Yeah, sure.
appreciate you so much for coming on today. You are the best.
Thank you, Aphrodite. That is so sweet. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate your support as well.
Thank you for coming on my show today. You brought me to a new place, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person soon.
Thank you so much. Me too. I really need human contact.
Right? We'll talk soon.
Okay, sounds good.